Hare Krishna, everyone. Here in hybrid mode, somebody has their.
I put a computer there, Prabhu. Is it?
No. That's okay. So, welcome everyone. Happy Diwali to everybody. Today is Diwali season is starting, not actual Diwali, but season. We call it Dhanteras or something, and then Choti Diwali tomorrow, then main Diwali on Monday. So we will start with Mangalacharan prayers. And please follow along. By now, you all know the Mangalacharan prayers, so I'm not going to display. I'll just directly display the slides. And kindly be on mute on the Zoom during Mangalacharan prayers. And here we can recite in the room together. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Śrī Chaitanya Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, so we will continue our Īśopaniṣad discussion for about 1 hour. Today, a little bit short, not 1.5 hours. We are in the wonderful home of Anu Mataji Prasad Prabhu, and they are kindly organizing this program. And then after this, we will do Damodarashtakam. This is Kartik month. I hope all the devotees are doing Damodarashtakam every day. If you don't know what it is, please message me and I can send you a PDF of the prayer, Damodarashtakam. It is a prayer in the Padma Purana by Satyavrata Muni, which glorifies Lord Damodar. And tomorrow in the Sunday feast, I think I have been ordered to give a class. I will explain in detail the Damodarashtakam prayers. So, please sing these prayers and offer a lamp, a deep to Lord Damodar. So that's what we will do. And we will, it's also the anniversary of the deities of Mataji and Prabhuji, Bal Gopalji. So we will, offer flowers to the deities and, celebrate a little bit his birthday, even though the Lord is unborn and eternal, but still, he still has birthday, just like Ram Navami, Janmashtami and all that. So like that. Okay, I'm going to share so that's the plan for today, but the class will end with Īśopaniṣad. That's where we will end. Where is it? Share screen?
Three up. Yeah, one more.
Oh, thank you. Screen. Okay, where did the participants? Okay. All right. So screen is visible on Zoom. Yes. Anybody? Screen can be.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
So as usual, I made it into screen like PowerPoint, so we can recite the two mantras, the invocation mantra and the translation, and the first mantra and the translation. So please repeat after me. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam
Purnamidam
Purnamudachyate
Purnat Purnamudachyate
Asya
Purnasya
Aya
Purnamadaya
Purnamevavashishyate.
Purnamevavashishyate.
The personality of Godhead is perfect,
The personality of Godhead is perfect
complete,
and complete.
and because he is completely perfect,
And because he is completely perfect,
all emanations from him,
all emanations from him,
such as this phenomenal world,
such as this phenomenal world,
are perfectly equipped as complete wholes.
are perfectly equipped as complete wholes.
Whatever is produced of the complete whole
Whatever is produced of the complete whole
is also complete in itself.
is
Is
also
also
complete in
complete in
itself.
itself.
Because he is the complete whole,
Because
Because
he
he
is
is the
complete
complete
whole,
whole,
even though so many complete units emanate from him,
even though so many complete units emanate from him,
he remains the complete balance.
he remains the
he
complete
remains the
balance.
complete balance.
This is amazing, right? How the Lord is, inconceivably complete. Okay, next verse. Little bit easier to understand than the previous one, but we had a good discussion on Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam. So this is also supposed to be memorized by all the Bhakti Shastri students. Isavashya idam sarvam
Isavashyam idam sarvam
yat kincha jagatyam jagat
yat kincha jagatyam jagat
tena tyaktena bunjitha
yena taktena bhunjitha
magridha kasya svidhanam. Everything animate or inanimate
Everything
Everything
animate or inanimate
inanimate
that is within the universe
that is within the universe
is controlled and owned by the Lord.
is
is
controlled and
controlled and
owned by the Lord.
One should therefore accept
One should therefore accept
only those things necessary for himself,
only
those things necessary for himself,
which are set aside as his quota.
which are
which
set
are set
aside as
aside
his
as
quota.
his quota.
And one should not accept other things,
And
And
one
one
should
should not
accept other
accept other
things,
things,
knowing well to whom they belong.
knowing well
knowing
to
well
whom
to
they
whom they
belong.
belong.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so that is mantra 1. So now we will study mantra 2 and 3. We will see how much the time goes, and we may stop at 2 or we may continue with 3. So mantra 2. So mantra 2, so like I've mentioned, mantra, the invocation mantra is knowledge, and 1, 2, 3 is application and practice. So as we can see, this mantra 1 is full of application. Little bit knowledge is there that everything belongs to the Lord. Isavashyam idam sarvam. But then there is application, which is tena tyaktena bhunjitha. Just accept whatever is your quota. Ma gridha kasya svidhanam. Don't take other people's dhan. Jitna mila hai utne mein khush raho. Accept whatever is been given to you and be happy with that. And then text 2 is what you will get if you follow this. It is like an encouragement. So Bhagwan, you will see, is directly talking to us. He will say you. Okay, so it is not, this Upanishads are not being spoken to anyone. Like Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Krishna to Arjuna. Bhagavatam was spoken, by Sukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, and within that also there are so many conversations. The Lord is speaking to Durvasa Muni, or so many other, but the Upanishads are just direct instructions, but still it is as if being spoken to us. We will see. So it is an encouragement verse, and the third verse is a warning that if you follow the Isavashya, and we had said that, so let me stop the sharing. Yeah, mantra 1 summary. Okay, I will share when necessary. So what are the warnings if you don't follow the Isavashya principle? That's the third verse. So 2 is benefits, third is warnings. And what was I going to say? And you all know what is the Isavashya principle. Okay, so who can tell me what is the Isavashya principle? There are 3 main points in the Isavashya principle. First point, anybody? What is the first point? And it is the mukhya point.
Is it Lord is owner of everything?
Yes, everything belongs to the Lord. That is the mukhya principle. The remaining 2 are secondary principles. Okay. I'll just show this so that everybody can. So the second, what are the next 2 principles which are secondary? Anybody else? So here Mataji is saying you should accept your quota. So within that there is the fact that there is a quota and you should remain within your quota. And what is the second secondary principle? The converse. To not encroach on others' quota.
Do not hanker.
Do not hanker for other people's quota, or for quota that is not yours, whether it is somebody else's, whose it is, or it is Lord's. You don't worry. As long as it is not yours, don't encroach. Yes, so correct. That is the Isavashya principle. So let's read the second verse. So I hope maybe I can share the screen. Okay, hopefully you can see this. So this is the second verse. So second verse says, Kurvan eveha karmani jiji. No need to repeat. Okay. Kurvan eveha karmani jiji vishet shatam samah evam tvai na anyatha eto asti na karma lipyate nare. So this is the second. So let us see what this means. Kurvan eveha karmani. So it means that doing his work in this way. What is this way? Eveha means in this way. Karmani kurvan, doing your work. Kurvan karmani. Eveha, in this way, doing kurvan, your work. Karmani. What does this mean? The Isavashya principle. So living in the Isavashya principle, doing your work. Jiji vishet shatam samaha. One can live for shatam samaha. Shata means 100, Shatak, cricket may have shatak, century, 100 runs. So shatam samaha means hundreds of years. One can live for a very, very long time. Evam tvai na anyatha eto asti. Now this is a very important line. Evam tvai na anyatha eto asti means there is no alternative. Anyatha means what? Alternative. Anyatha this, anyatha that. Either you do this, we say, or anyatha means or else do that. So that's an alternative. Anyatha is alternative. Na anyatha eto asti. There is no alternative. Like in that verse, it is there. No, what is that verse? Harer nama eva kevalam kalau nastya eva gattiramite. Na asti eva. There is no other way. Similarly, here is na eto asti. There is no alternative Evam Tvai, for you. Tvai means what? For you. So Īśopaniṣad is speaking to us. You have no alternative. And the fourth line is na karma lipyate nare. By doing this work, by doing your work in Isavashya principle, lipyate means there is no entanglement. Okay? You won't be entangled in the fruits of the work by working in Isavashya principle. So why you won't be entangled in the fruits? Anybody can say?
Because of the lust?
No.
Because you are not bound by the karma.
Because we are not bound by karma. Very good. Why we are not bound by karma? That is the next logical question.
Because we are not barging onto somebody else. We are not hurting anyone.
That is just dharma. From Bhagavad Gita, we know that not only accepting your quota, not encroaching on other people's quota is dharmic. But then we are bound in the cycle of dharma, artha, kama, dharma, artha, kama, dharma, artha, kama. It is binding. That is mode of goodness, not encroaching on other people's quota. Only remaining within your quota is mode of goodness. Is mode of goodness binding? Yes. So how it is not binding? I think Madhav Gauranga Prabhu was saying the right answer, but can you, why it is na lipyate nare?
You do the karma in the name of Krishna.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Who said that? I can't make out the voice.
Shri Devi Mataji, Prabhu.
Oh, okay, thank you. So that is the answer. It is not because of the principle of tena tyaktvena bhunjitha ma gridha kasya svidhanam. That is not the reason why you are na lipyate nare. No, that is mode of goodness. The reason for na lipyate nare is Isavashya idam sarvam. Because you're putting God in the center, considering everything as his, you are acting as a caretaker for whatever quota you have been given. That is the reason why it becomes non-binding. So the Isavashya, that's why we said earlier, Isavashya principle, mukhya principle is this. Other two are secondary. The primary principle is everything is God's property. We are just renters. And when we go out of the house, we are supposed to leave it in a nice place. Otherwise, they will send a long bill for fixing it. We have to leave it in a good condition. So that is the reason for na lipyate nare. So once again, the translation is, one may aspire, Srila Prabhupada writes the translation, one may aspire to live for hundreds of years. Hundreds. What is that word? Shatam samaha, hundreds of years. If he continuously goes on working in that way, Isavashya principle, for that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. It is not binding. Na lipyate nare. There is no alternative to this way for man. Now, this is another important point. How many people in this world are living by Isavashya principle? Tell me some number. Huh?
Rare.
Not zero. It's non-zero. There are great saints and all. We got answer 1%. Anything else? 0.0001%. So some very low number, isn't it? So what about remaining 99%? It means they are not living by Isavashya principle. So why does Īśopaniṣad say there is no alternative? For you, evam tvai na anyatha eto asti. Why it is saying there is no alternative? The alternative to hai. Khao piyo mast raho. दूसरे का भी उठा के ले लो लड्डू.
Then you will be entangled with your karma.
Yeah, but there is an alternative. Yes, Saloni Mataji is raising the hand.
Prabhuji, if you want to go back home to him, there is no alternative other than living by the principle. And
sure, but if we want to, that will be now there is no alternative. Bhakti. Anything else? So these two verses 2 and 3, that's why usually we want to cover together, but depending on time constraint, we will see how much we can cover today. But when we understand the consequences, then we see that there is no alternative. And especially in the third verse, the negative consequences. Now, how many of you are parents of a child? A lot of parents, right? So let me ask in the room. If your child says, I will not go to school, will you say you have two options, you go to school or you don't go to school? Choose whichever one you want. Will you say that?
No.
What will you say if child says, I don't want to go to school?
Try to find out the reason. Try to find out the reason.
Okay, you are very... So suppose he gives some reason. Teacher is very strict, or whatever, the exam is too hard, homework is, I didn't do homework. So you have 1 hour discussion back and forth on the reasons. Then what?
Reasons should be genuine, not to go for school.
What as a parent will you say? Is there an option? Is there a... Anybody else?
Only home education.
That is even more difficult, I can tell you. Given the child, give the option to the child for home education, and then you actually educate him at home for 1 year. Next year, he will say, I want to go to school.
That's right.
Because as a parent, you want to give very high class education. Yes.
So Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, looks like it's, after discussing pros and cons, and then we will come to some conclusion. Say, okay, what is the good for everybody else? According to that, we'll make the decision.
Okay, you are a very generous father. Most parents will say there is no option. You have to go to school. That's it. Or I can take any other example. Child says, I don't want to brush my teeth. I don't want to take a shower. Don't you say there is no option? In that sense, Bhagavan is saying there is no option. Because the consequences, the alternative, anyatha, the alternative is just completely unacceptable. It's not like, you can go to this school or this school. That is an option. Both may result in similar consequences. Fine. But the consequences of not doing this, or the alternate consequences, are just completely unacceptable. And as a father or mother, you can see, but as a child, they may not be able to see, like, why I have to brush my teeth every day? Why I have to take shower every day? Why I have to go to school? So here, in that spirit, there is no option. There is an option. Yes, there is an option. And that is what Bhagavan, the Lord, will say in the next verse. Then you will go down into the asuric life. You'll become completely, you will go and live in the darkest regions of hell. So there is an option theoretically, but it's not really an option. Okay, so that is the meaning of evam tvai na anyatha yato asti. Okay, so this verse basically means that one should work, whatever work one is doing, one should do it according to the Isavashya principle. Understanding that everything belongs to the Lord and we are just simply caretakers. With that mood, with that mentality and attitude, one should do their work. And if you do the work in this way, then there is no binding. Otherwise, in any work, and from Bhagavad Gita, all of you have, been in Bhagavad Gita classes, you know very well, any kind of work includes you are bound. The results bind you. Even if it is good work. Many people think of sinful work as, oh, I will get bad reaction. Even good work, if you do, you will get a good reaction. It is called karma bandhana. So we will be bound. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the 3 types of work, 3 types of karma. So in the text, chapter 4, text number 16. So we will see this, chapter 4, text number 16. What is this? No, 17 perhaps. Yeah. Karmano hi api bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha, akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. So there are three types of work. Karmano hi bodhav, and bodhavyam means one should understand or one should know that there is karma, karmano hi bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha. So vikarmana, karmana, and akarmanascha bodhavyam. There are three types of work, akarma. And then Bhagavan says, Gahana karmano gatihi. So I will explain that a little bit. There are three types of work. So karma, or we also call it a sukarma, is good kind of work, pious work, which leads to or which produces good reaction. You do charitable work, you do good, you be nice to others, which like all of you are. So that is good kind of karma. It leads to good reactions. Vikarma means sinful work, which none of you are, but it leads to sinful reactions. There are people who do that. But there is a third kind of karma, which is akarma, means that kind of work which does not lead to good or bad reactions. And then he says, Gahana karmano gatihi. Why he says that? Gahana karmano gatihi means, what should everybody do? Try to do good karma, correct? And avoid doing bad karma, vikarma. So if you are trying to do that, it's very difficult to determine what is good, what is bad. In trying to do good, you may do something bad. And there will be reactions. Or you may say, since I have to do a karma, no work, or then you say, I will just not do anything. Then it will not produce any reaction. That also doesn't happen. Even if you are breathing, Krishna says, it produces reaction. So what is the solution? Upar baith sakte hain? What is the solution is to do whatever work you are doing, but with the Isavashya principle. Then it becomes akarma. So that is the solution. Considering Krishna to be the Bhagavan, to be the proprietor, considering whatever we have as the as our temporary caretaker, we are a temporary caretaker. When we do the work, it becomes akarma, because we are doing it as a way to serve Bhagavan. We are trying to take care of his property. That is a change of mentality. Whether we have a car, a house, child, husband, wife, family, everything we consider, it's not mine, it is Bhagavan's. I have to do it in a way so that I don't spoil the property. I leave it in a better state than I found it. And the owner is Bhagavan. I am just a sevak. I am just a renter, caretaker. Sevak means caretaker. Then there is no reaction. Then the way you deal with other people, the way you deal with material things, there is no reaction. Only when you consider it yours, and then you interact with other people or other things, it produces reactions. So that is the solution, and that is why it is written in this Śrī Īśopaniṣad verse number 2. Where did it go? Right here. Na karma lipyate nare. By working in this principle, kurvan eveha karmani, by working in this way, na karmana lipyate nare. One is not entangled. Okay. Now, there are a couple of other points to be clarified here to go a little bit deeper. One must always remember in Bhagavad Gita, and again, Srila Prabhupada always wants to connect all the scriptures to Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is the most foundational scripture on which everything rests. Nothing is misaligned with Bhagavad Gita. It is the most foundational, it's the pillar of all other scriptures. So in the Bhagavad Gita, there are, for those little bit more advanced students who have been attending many classes, and especially Bhakti Shastri, they must remember the so-called 2.5 verses. This is how you should remember. This is how I remember. Whenever I say which are the 2.5 verses of Bhagavad Gita, it means these particular 2.5 verses. Which one it is? Anybody remembers? All the so-called smart students of Bhagavad Gita?
Chapter 80.
Very
I
good.
think
Which
60,
one?
64, 65, 66.
No,
I
no.
don't.
So the 2.5 important verses are 56, 57, 58 and a half. Okay, so let us quickly see what are those verses, 56, 50, and that very, very nicely explains what is this principle. The Isavashya principle is explained fully in those 2.5 verses. So chapter 18, and I am not saying this, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says this. So 56. Okay. So sarva karmani api sada kurvanno mad vyapashrayah mad prasadat avapnoti shashvatam padam avyayam. So though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. So even though a person, a devotee is engaged in all kinds of activities, you might see a devotee, going, a devotee of Bhagavan, going to the bank, depositing some money, then going to ATM, getting some money, sitting in his car, driving, buying grocery. He's doing all the actions are the same, but he is doing it for Bhagavan. Maybe he is depositing the money of the temple. Maybe he is, buying grocery to cook prasad, to book bhoga, all those things. So kurvan mad vyapashrayaha. Kurvano, he is doing these activities under my ashraya. He is doing it for me. He is doing it under my shelter. Mat prasadat avapnoti shashvatam padam avyayam. Mat prasadat, by my grace. So there will be faults in the activities that he does. There will be faults. Maybe as he is walking, he steps on an ant and the ant dies. Abhi kya kare? Doesn't mean that you should not go do grocery. The Jain Munis, they wear a mask all the time so that even the germs in the air don't die because of their breathing. Very extreme. But kya kare? Can you think that no germs are dying simply because you are breathing out hot air? No, they are still dying. So how do you rectify all this activity? By doing it for Krishna. Then he takes care of by mat prasadat, by his mercy. Prasad means mercy, not just the food. His mercy, it gets taken care. So this is the first verse. Chetasha sarva karmani mai sannyasa matparaha buddhi yogam upashritya mat chitta satatam bhava. In all the activities, just depend upon me. Bhagavan Krishna is not saying don't do activities. All he's saying is do, but with dependence on me. Mad ashrayaha. Okay. Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha. Chetasa, in your mind, in your cheta, keep me and then do all your activities. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. This is the second verse. Now the half verse. Mad chittaha sarva durgani mad prasadat tarishyasi. So, mad chittaha sarva durgani means that keeping me in your mind, chitta means mind, sarva durgani, you will cross all the problems. Mad prasadat tarishyasi. Tarishyasi means to cross. Durgani means all the material problems, all the material sinful reactions, any reactions you will cross. Tarishyasi. How? Mat prasadat, not by your being extra careful. Just do your activities with my consciousness. I will make sure to clean up all the reactions. This is Isavashya principle, and these are the very important 2.5 verses of Bhagavad Gita, that whenever you say the word 2.5, this should ring a bell. 2.5 verses. Very important 2.5. Then Bhagavan says what not to do. That is the next. Okay, so that we will not. So again, okay. I'm looking at my notes and seeing that. What else? So everybody should start living by this principle of Isavashya principle. There is no alternative, Bhagavan says. There is no alternative. So let's focus a little bit on that. Or actually, we have already focused. So let's see, 6:40. Okay. I'm just thinking whether to cover this topic. It is a little bit kind of a deeper topic, but we'll skip it. And it doesn't mean that right from today. So for those who are different people are in different stages of their spiritual progress, you can start small. You don't have to completely overnight change everything. Start gradually. Do small things for Bhagavan, little things. For example, just whatever you are eating, start with just the food you are eating. Offer the food to Bhagavan first, saying that everything is given by you. Now you may think, I have purchased the food from the grocery store. Well, how did you get the money to purchase? You will say, I worked hard. How could you work hard? Because I have good muscles, good brain, software engineer, or whatever, this, that, whatever. Where did you get good brain from? Who gave you the good muscles? So many people from the birth itself don't have a very good brain. Some, may have some problems, or some you can see people have varying levels of intelligence. Did you choose, I want the 50% intelligence? Anybody will choose their intelligence level? No. So who gives the intelligence? Bhagavan. Very nice. So who is the ultimate giver of the wealth? Bhagavan. So we can offer little, and that with that wealth, we buy the food, offer little bit food to Bhagavan. From that, if you get some fruits, if you get some dal, rice, whatever, first say, Bhagavan, you have it, then I will have it. So one can start gradually. Then slowly one can make progress and use everything in service of Krishna. So quickly now we will look at Srila Prabhupada's purport on this very nice verse, Isavashya, the second verse. So I have this, I will share. Where is share? So mantra 2. Okay, mantra 2. So mantra 2 has 7 paragraphs, as I have written here by Srila Prabhupada, and I will give a quick summary of the 7 paragraphs. So the first paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is in all the paragraphs, he's making some very nice points, and that I want to mention. So first paragraph, he's saying that every human being has to do his duties. So some of these we have already talked about, obviously from the purport, from there only I spoke. Every human being has to do his duty, right? And all kind of work, good or bad, creates karma bandhana. So we talked about it. And due to this karma bandhana, we are going through various species of life. So there are various species of life. This is not the only life you have. Who knows previous life, what you were, and who knows what will be your next life? No, not who knows. Bhagavan knows. You don't know. I don't know, but Bhagavan knows. But you may not know what kind of next life it is, but you can control what next life you get. You have that power to control what kind of next life you get. If you do good activities, you will go up. Maybe you'll get another human life. People say there are 84 lakh yonis or species. That is the maximum number. It doesn't mean you have to go through all the 84 lakh before coming back to human life. No. If you do good activities, very good activities, next life itself could be human or even a devata. A very rich, very powerful person. Let's just put it that way. A demigod. Okay. But mostly we are doing sinful activities, especially in Kali Yuga. Satyuga may be different situation. Kali Yuga, we are all prone to doing, and not only prone, the situation around us is such that even if we don't want, we end up doing sinful activities. They are attracting us, calling us, come do sinful activities, come do sinful activities. So many people, for example, very pious when they are living in India, especially coming to America and all, they become looking at all the glamour and everything, gone into sinful activities. Then Srila Prabhupada says that human life is special. It's very, very special. And this human life is special because in the human life, you get a chance. In the life of cat or dog, you don't get a chance to get out of this cycle of birth and death. In human life only, this chance is available to get out of this cycle of birth and death. And the way to get out of this cycle is by living with Isavashya Principle. Not by doing sinful activities, definitely not even by doing pious activities. You cannot get out of the cycle of birth and death. You can get a higher birth, but after kshine punye martya lokam vishanti, after your pious credits are used up, again you come back to earth. So that is the second paragraph. And the third paragraph, Srila Prabhupada says, like we covered, it is very hard to do akarma. Akarma is the principle. That is to not attract any reaction. But without help of God, it is very hard to do akarma. Try doing no activity on your own. Even in breathing, you are attracting karma. So it is not possible to do akarma solely by your own strength. The only way to do akarma is by Bhagavan's prasad, which he says in the, which verses? How many verses? 2.5. Very important. Remember, always remember 2.5. So in those 2.5 verses, Bhagavan Krishna is saying the only way to do akarma is by mat prasadat, by my mercy. Okay. Then the fourth paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is saying that there are all these isms. People are doing all these isms. Altruism, nationalism, humanitarianism. People are trying to do good things. But all these are what? Altruism means what? What is altruism? Yeah, some, we call it voluntary service or whatever, volunteer activities, Red Cross, whatever, serving in a hospital, serving the poor people, feeding the poor, all these are altruistic activities. But all these are also binding. And very, very important point says that, Srila Prabhupada says that all these isms, first of all, are leading to karma bandhana. I'm repeating that part. But what we are supposed to do, should we give up the isms? No, don't give up. No need to give up the isms. Just make those isms as God-centered. So very nice example that is given is, for example, Srila Prabhupada, when he would talk to people who are very proud of India. I'm Indian, Desh Bhakt, nationalism, right? Many of you are nationalism, Indian. In America, we have all this. We are Americans, America first. All this, America, America. So we have all this, national pride. How to dovetail that to Krishna is, Prabhupada used to say to Indian people, oh, you are all Indian people. You should be very proud. He wouldn't say, no, give up this mentality. I'm Indian, I'm American. That is the real one. But those people will get agitated. Hey, kya bol raha hai ye? Chalo, I'm Desh Bhakta. I don't want all this Krishna Bhakti. I am happy with my Desh Bhakti. But he would very nicely convert the Desh Bhakti to Krishna Bhakti. You see, you are from India. And Bhagavad Gita is the most important book in India. You should go and distribute this Indian book to everyone. Go distribute Bhagavad. Give everybody. Tell them how deep and how wonderful the Indian philosophy is. Go distribute Bhagavad Gita. So they would distribute Bhagavad Gita. So that is how he would sort of, convert or translate the ism. To Americans, he would not say you should become Indian. No, you are Americans. You are the leaders of the world. You are the ones who are doing great things. You have, man on the moon and space and this and that. Now you do great things for Krishna. Go. If you will read Bhagavad Gita, everybody in the world will follow you. They will also start reading. So you go and set the leadership example of following Krishna's words. Like this, he would, dovetail. He would translate their isms into Krishna Bhakti. So we should not disturb people's material propensities. Whether I'm Indian, American is a material thing, right? It's related to the body. Today I'm Indian. If I die tomorrow and I am born as an African, then will I remember, no, I'm not African. Last life I was Indian, so I will remain Indian forever. No, whichever body it's a bodily thing. So don't try to disturb people's bodily mentality, but just make it converted for Krishna's service. Use it for, not convert, I would say, use it for Krishna's service. So that is the meaning of God-centered conception of one's duties and isms. Just put God in the center and maintain your ism, no problem. Fifth paragraph, Srila Prabhupada says, better to live a short life lived by the Isavashya principle than a very, very long life of godlessness. What is the use? Very long life of godlessness means your papon ka ghada aur bharega. Your bucket of sins will only increase. What's the point of, increasing your baggage of sins? That's why it's better to have a short life for sinful people. The principle behind Krishna killing the demons is not revenge, is not like a thing, punishment, but it is to stop their accumulation of more sinful activity. Otherwise, they'll keep accumulating more and more and more sinful activity. So better is a short life. And a God conscious, short or long, doesn't matter. Both are great. Chaitanya Prabhu gives the example of Adishankaracharya or Jesus Christ. Both lived for how many years? 32 years. Only 32. If somebody dies at 32, you will say, bahut jaldi mar gaya. Hai ki nahi? But those 32 years were much better than sinful people's hundreds of years of life. So a short life lived by God-centered principle is much better than, of course, you can have a very long life also, which is God-centered. That's even better. That's what this verse says. You can live for hundreds of years in the Isavashya principle. No problem. You won't accumulate any baggage. So you can desire to live, you can aspire to live because your baggage is not increasing. So that is the meaning. And then Srila Prabhupada quotes this verse 2.40. Who knows 2.40? Very famous verse of Bhagavad Gita.
Nehabhikramana sosti pratyavayo
Go ahead.
na vidyate swalpam alpasya dharmasya trayate bhayato mahat.
Mahato bhayat. Very nice. Thank you. So what it means is that swalpam apya dharmasya, little bit of advancements. Alpa matlab little, thoda sa. Little bit of advancement. Trayate mahato bhayat. It saves you from the biggest danger. So that's what a small life, short life lived by the God-centered principle is better than a long life of demoniac nature. And then finally, in the 6th verse, paragraph, Srila Prabhupada talks about even a half-finished life, even you have not completed a full life and you were not successful in 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, what does Bhagavan Krishna say? Who can tell? The last few verses, 41 to 45. Because Arjun asks a question, what happens to those who start their process of spirituality but are not able to complete it? Yes, Bhagavan Krishna says, no problem. You will continue in the next birth. Next life is, first of all, guaranteed to be human life. Guarantee. So if you all want a next life as human, at least start your spiritual progress in this life. Sincerely, not like, okay, today we attended Diwali program, ho gaya, chalo, we got a ticket. No, sincerity is what Bhagavan is looking for. If you are using it like a formula to get a ticket, then you don't get a ticket. You only get that ticket when you do it without the mentality of getting the ticket. So Bhagavan knows our bhava, our internal intention. If you are trying to cheat him, वो सबसे बड़े cheater हैं. You cannot cheat the biggest cheater. जैसे हिरण्यकशिपु ने cheating करने का कोशिश किया, है ना? क्या cheating? Nobody should be able to kill me, man or animal. Day में नहीं, night में नहीं. No weapons, neither inside nor outside. He thought कि everything is done. है कि नहीं? Then what did Bhagavan do? He appeared as Narsingadev.
Narsimha avatar.
Completely cheated him. Isn't it? A form which nobody had seen, the Lord took and met all his criteria and still killed him. So don't try to cheat Bhagavan. Sincerely start the spiritual progress in this life. And then even if you are unfinished, guaranteed, Bhagavan says in the Bhagavad Gita, you will get a next life. And not only you will get next human life. That's only the one part. The other part is you will begin from where you left off. Automatically, he says, I will make sure you begin where you left off. Without even your trying to. Because we don't, for other reasons, which we don't want to spend time today, it is by design, Bhagavan has made that you don't remember your past life. That's a good thing. So how do you know where I left off? A, B, C, D tak to yaad kar liya. Ne past life mein ab E hai. How do you know? You have to start from E or F or G. If you don't remember your past life, how do you know where to start? Bhagavan says, I will make you remember. I will tell you where to start. So much Bhagavan is doing for our spiritual progress. And so he says that, and then there is this Swalpam asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat is being very nicely shown in the Ajamil story. What is Ajamil story? He did very nice spiritual progress when he was young, in his age. Then he became extremely sinful person. So what did Bhagavan do? He made him take the name of Bhagavan at his last moment, and he was saved because of his past spiritual progress. All his sinful activities that he did later on, he was not saved. He got another 12 years to rectify himself. So he was given a second chance. Okay, so all this happens, and that is the 6th paragraph. And finally, in the 7th paragraph, Srila Prabhupada says, how to execute God-centered activities. And that Srila Prabhupada says, I have explained in great detail in my other book, Nectar of Devotion, which fortunately all the Bhakti Shastri students will go through. So just to give a short summary of how to execute God-centered activities, I gave an example. And like food, whatever food you get, just offer it to Bhagavan. Second thing, what you can do, you can read Srimad Bhagavatam. You can read 2 pages of Bhagavad Gita every day. Every day, just 2-3 pages you can read. And you can take Krishna's name, you can take Bhagavan's name. Just taking the name, even if you are sitting in a train or bus or wherever, and if you don't even have the book, Bhagavan ka naam to hamesha le sakte hain. 10-15 minutes you can take Bhagavan's name. So all these activities you can do.
There is a white Tesla parked in front of neighbor's driveway, so we could move that they're trying to get out.
White Tesla.
Sorry.
Sure. We are almost done. So these are some of the things that you can do to live a God-centered life. And the most important thing to live a God-centered life is to be thankful to God for whatever we have. Whatever we have is not ours. It has been given to us. We may think it is ours, but we discussed this in the last 2-3 classes, why it is not ours, how it is not ours. Any moment it can be taken away. How can we call it ours? So always be thankful for what we have. Remain within our boundary. Isavashya Principle, and use it in the best possible way to serve Krishna and not encroach on other people's boundaries. Otherwise, it becomes injustice in Bhagwan's eyes, and then you are in a sinful loop. One sin leads to the other, leads to the other. So this is how you can do God-centered activities. And more detail we will see as we go along, and we just keep discussing. That's one of the main points, how to live a God-centered life. So we will stop here. We will cover mantra 3 next time, but it is a warning verse, just to kind of complete the discussion. And this verse is telling what are the benefits. The benefits: you can live a long life and you will not be entangled. That you will not be na karma lipyate nare. Another important point is nar. Kutte ko nar bolenge kya? Is a dog a nar? Who is a nar? Human. That means this Īśopaniṣad, this verse is meant for humans.
Human beings.
Human beings, yes. It is meant for all of us. It's not meant for someone else. If you think I'm, oh, this is not for me. As long as you are a human being, it definitely applies to you. So it is meant for all human beings. Human life is very rare. You never know what life you will get next. So this human life, you absolutely know, and I cannot give a class to dogs. They won't listen. They can't understand English, Hindi. They don't have the mental, they don't even have, they have a brain, but their brain is not meant to understand these things. So what is the difference between, Srila Prabhupada says, dog is running on 4 legs, we are running on 4 wheels. What is the difference? Both are running only. So we are just running a little bit faster using some extra tools. So unless we use our intelligence to live a God-centered life, we are wasting human life. And the importance of human life is shown here, Nare. So we must adopt these principles. It's meant for human beings, and human life is very, very precious. So I will stop here. Yeah, and the next verse is a warning. What happens if you don't live like this? The consequences are very, very severe, not like punishment consequences. If you don't do this, I will punish you. No, it's just the consequence. Parent does not say to the child, if you don't go to school, I will make sure you remain a dumb guy. Does parents say that? No. If you don't go to school, naturally the outcome, the consequence will be that you will not learn things, you will not do things. You will, end up, on the gas pump filling gas or whatever. Now, they are also respectable people, but, everyone, one can understand that, one should work, go to school, whatever, get a good education and all that. No disrespect meant to any class of people. Okay. So, yeah, the consequences are in the next verse. Okay. Any questions by anybody on Zoom or in the room here? And please make sure who are on the Zoom are at least the Bhakti Shastri students. Your name is there properly, so it can be tracked in the report that I will pull for attendance purposes. And your real name is there, not iPhone or iPad or whatever. It will not be possible for me to find out. So for attendance purposes, and here I will know who is here and I will apply the attendance. I'm talking to the people, there's a special class they're doing where attendance, and there's tests and homeworks and all. So today class is like a class, plus it is open to everybody else also. So any questions? So I see something on the chat. Let me see what's going on. Okay. Somebody's asking, so tomorrow in the temple, I have to give a class in the morning at the temple. So I'll be talking about the detailed meaning of Damodar Ashtakam, which we sing Every word, every line, how to understand the whole Damodar Ashtakam, we will do an analysis. So one is asking that, Mataji is asking, is it available on Zoom? No, it won't be available on Zoom as in like real time, but I will post a recording so you can watch. Yes, offline. I don't know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But recording will definitely be posted, that I can guarantee. Then question is, okay, Narottam Vilas Prabhu is saying it will be live. So great. He is our technology person. In addition to being Prabhuji, how to follow Isavashya Principle? So I think I explained that, how to follow Isavashya Principle. We talked about so many things. I think I answered that. Can it be achieved by taking the Lord's name in every karma? Yes, that's the starting point. Even if you take the name without real feeling, that also is good. But slowly you start there. Somewhere you have to start. So start by taking the name. Now, while you are doing software coding, you cannot take the name of Bhagavan. You have to put the coding and all the things in your mind. Otherwise, or like, while you are doing something that requires the mind, it is not possible to take Bhagavan's name. So you come to more classes and all that, you will understand how to keep Bhagavan at the back of your mind while doing anything. But if you are doing some, routine tasks like cooking, showering, or, driving, when you are expert, student drivers should focus on the road. They shouldn't do anything else. But if you can listen to some Bollywood music while driving, instead of that, you can listen to Kirtan or you can sing Kirtan. So many people hum or, while driving. So there's so many routine activities that you do. Yes, you can. If you're doing very brainy activity, then you cannot. But the answer there is that you can keep Krishna at the back of your mind. Okay, you can know that, oh, after I'm done with this, you can have that thought in your mind. As an example, after I'm done with this, I have to do my 3 pages of reading of Bhagavad Gita. You can think like that, oh, today I have not met my commitment of reading 3 pages of Bhagavad Gita. It's getting late in the night. I have to read. Oh, so that tension is there. Like you have other kind of tension, right? Mothers have the tension, oh, I have not cooked the food for tomorrow. I have not cut the vegetables. Tomorrow I have to cook breakfast early in the morning. My son has an early school tomorrow. I have not done the prep. So she will get up, and even if it is night, she will do that. That's a healthy kind of tension. So similarly, you can have healthy tension for Krishna. Oh, I have not finished my reading yet. My 15 minutes I had committed to Bhagavan. Let me finish that. Or as soon as I'm done with my brainy work, I will go to that. Like this, you think, right? Even while you're doing other things, I have to do that something else. Oh, I have to do that. You finish this work, you won't waste your time. Somebody's phone call comes for 2 minutes, it goes for 20 minutes. Then you will say, no, I have to do that. Now let's keep. If you have something important to do, won't you say that to your friend? I have to get back to something important. Let's talk later. Instead of that, you think, chalo, theek hai, aaj skip maarte hain. Today we'll skip. Aur kaise ho, kya kar rahe ho, everything, hello, hi, kaun sa movie dekha, kya kiya. So like that, you can cut out on those activities and go back to your commitment to Krishna. That kind of tension you can have, that kind of mindset or that healthy, this thing you can have. So like that, you can be working in the Isavashya principle. So hopefully that answered some, it gave a sense of what the answer is. All right. No, so it says taking kids to classes is not spiritual in nature. Sure, taking kids to math class is not spiritual. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains there is Gauna Vidhi and Mukhya Vidhi. Okay. So everything else that we are doing is supporting activity. Gauna Vidhi. To support what? The Mukhya Vidhi. Now, theoretically Practically speaking, now Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving this example, not me. Taking a bath is not a spiritual activity. Kutta bhi nahata hai na, kabhi dekha hai kutta? He goes in a pond of water, showers, then comes back and will shake himself and he's nice and clean. So by definition, bathing is not a spiritual activity. Do you agree? How is bathing a spiritual activity? Huh? Even a person who is completely demoniac may take a bath, isn't it? But bathing is called a gauna vidhi, because if you take a bath, your body will remain clean. It will be free of diseases, of assuming, whatever, out of the, no, you won't have other problems by not taking bath. And your mind will remain calm. If you are diseased, your mind is occupied, if it's paining, hurting, whatever, and then you cannot focus your mind on Bhagavan. Are you following? So taking a bath is a supporting activity so that you can nicely focus your mind on Bhagavan. And many other are there supporting activities. So like, you're taking the kids to a class is a supporting activity so that they can have a good education, good whatever, a decent life, so that they can become good devotees. It's very hard to be a good devotee if you are homeless, if you are, always thinking, where will I get my next meal? That is animalistic life. Animalistic life, we will see next verse. Animals' life is full of anxiety, always, except maybe for a eagle or a tiger who are at the top of the food chain. Every other animal is always, even sleeping, he is thinking, oh, is somebody coming to eat me? Will I live the next day? Even the tiger is thinking, will I get my next meal? Because tiger has to catch somebody. He cannot eat grass. At least the birds and this and that, they don't have that problem. The other animals, they can eat grass. They don't have to go run behind and catch. We see in National Geographic and all how much tigers are starving because there are no other animals left to catch. So everybody is worrying, where will I get their only worry is my next meal or whether I will live the next day. So if humans are in that situation, is it possible to focus on God? Very hard. It is possible, but it's much harder. So therefore, we must make sure we have a decent livelihood, not super luxurious, so that we can, it's like taking a bath. So I hope I answered that question as to taking class. You should do it with the mindset. So you should not just take your kids to math class, soccer class, also take them to spiritual class. Tell them all this learning and all that's what you are doing is meant for ultimately to you to become a good devotee, good bhakta, spiritual person. Otherwise, you're wasting human life. We should give this education to the children. And then you take them to math class, this class, that class, that's fine, so that they can have a decent life. Okay. Okay, so anything else? It is 7:15, so we will stop here. All right. So we will conclude our Īśopaniṣad class here. We will have some other programs here to continue, but on Zoom, we will conclude, and we are officially concluding the Īśopaniṣad class here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will close the call on Zoom here, okay? Hare Krishna. I have to stop the recording first.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.